Yeah, 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 come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now only 330 days until Christmas, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies and TV shows all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I'll be your host for this evening. Welcome back to our two-part episode about our favorite video games of 2023. We did not expect to run so long, and once we got into the middle of the edit, we kind of realized, this probably could just be a two-part episode. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight back into it, and let's see what games we're talking about next.
Happy Christmas!
J-Man Jonathan 5, let's go back to you.
Man, what else did I play this year? That's a good question. I didn't play Tears of the Kingdom yet. I have it, because I just got through Breath of the Wild, and then got to the point where I was like, I need to not be playing Zelda games for a little bit, because I played a lot of that game.
I feel you there. I would understand taking a break between the two.
Spoiler alert, you and I had the exact opposite reaction to Breath of the
Wild. Yeah, not that I didn't like it, it was just like, once I get to the end, it was just like, I'm ready for something else for a little bit. Breath of the Wild managed to be gloriously stupid in the ways that I wish, like, Skyrim was, basically.
That's I know exactly what you mean. Having played enough Zelda this year, I was thinking to myself, I should go back to Skyrim and try that again. But then I realized it probably wouldn't be as much fun.
Because in Zelda, when you do something stupid, it's very funny, and you smack a bokoblin with a giant stick shaped like a baseball bat, and he goes flying at a draw distance. But then in Skyrim, it's just like, well, I killed an NPC I needed for a quest, so now I gotta reload, I guess.
Yeah, the game's like, fuck you, why did you do that?
The guards are hollering at me because I yelled a bunch, I don't know. Breath of the Wild feels a lot more built for shenanigans than some other open world games, which is good, because if you're not going to have shenanigans, why are you open world?
Well put.
It's a good game for like introducing like open world concepts to people too, because like you start out that game and Santa Claus shows up immediately and says, "Hey, look over there. You should probably go to that thing over there." And then once you do, you immediately know where you have to go from there. Like it holds your hand just enough, but it kind of lets you look out and go, where do I want to go next? And it just works so seamlessly without ever explicitly saying you need to do this and this and this.
The plateau is such a good tutorial area.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's enough like open worldiness there going on just in that area. It's like a little microcosm of the entire bigger map. It's genius. I love it.
Pretty much.
Also, it does something that a lot of open world games doesn't do, which it gives me a motorcycle.
That too.
Yes. I do love the motorcycle, and I love the DLC for Breath of the Wild. I'll just put it that way. It's good stuff. It takes a game that was already way too big and says, hey, why not play it all over again?
Yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate a good Breath of the Wild. Bradford.
Okay. So, again, hot take that I'm not saying this is a better game than Tears of the Kingdom. I'm saying I enjoyed this more than Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
And this may be a little bit of recency bias, but my number 2 is actually going to be the Talos Principle.
Oh, okay.
I really liked this game. I actually picked it up years ago on the recommendation of friend of the show, Booker.
Uh-huh.
I believe they had some very good things to say about this game. I picked it up on a sale. It sat in my backlog for, 2-3 years. And then, of course, the sequel was announced. And as you and I both know, the best time to play the game that came before a sequel that's about to come out is right before the sequel comes out.
Uh-huh.
So I sat down with this. I started it in early December, and I just devoured this over over the Christmas tide season. And I really enjoyed it. And John's right. It is completely up its own ass as far as like all the philosophy stuff going on. But I really enjoyed the core story, and I really enjoyed the puzzles because I have this weird dichotomy going on where I really love puzzles, but maybe I'm not that good at puzzles, and I struggle against them a lot. So there's a bunch of different puzzles in this game, right? There's like, you have the core puzzles, and then you have extra credit puzzles that you have to find secrets. And I was struggling against some of the core puzzles, but I'm stubborn enough that I was refusing to look up the answer. I was refusing to use the in-game help system. So I'm like sitting there racking my brain
How do
for
you
45...
get
What?
the in-game help system to work?
Say what?
How do you get the in-game help system to work? What do you have to do to make that happen?
I don't know if there's a way to unlock it earlier, but once you get to the... Oh, if you're going to play the Talos Principle and you don't want to be spoiled, fast forward a little bit. Anyways, when you get to the Sea World, you find an axe, and then there are those doors that are covered with wood in A and B. You can break those doors with the axe, and then go in them, and then you have to solve a bunch of Sigils of Elohim puzzles, like the Tetramino puzzles.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you get one hint. So you get 3 hints throughout the entire game.
Okay, I got Game FAQs. It's okay.
I didn't use any of them. I was holding on to them just in case the silver puzzles were giving me like a lot of trouble because I didn't know how hard those were going to be. Like the ones you get for the stars. Yeah. But the silver puzzles don't let you use hints. So I've got 3 hints I'm sitting on that I never used. Anyways.
Yeah, it's very fun. A lot of the puzzles feel pretty intuitive. There are a couple of times where I looked up stars and it turns out like, oh, I just wasn't supposed to know how to do that. I was supposed to like have heard how to do that already.
I didn't look up any hints for the puzzles, but I did look up a couple of the stars, especially just like the locations of them, because I didn't I looked up the locations but not how to unlock them. Yeah, I did cheat on one, which I thought was kind of BS, which was John, have you gotten all the stars in A World? Yes. The moon landing one?
Yes. That like, my problem with that was the QR code. I could not get the QR code to work was my problem.
Yeah, I got the QR code, and it has the date of the moon landing. I'm like, okay, I gotta press all these numbers in order around the circle. No, it's just like the date later in the time and date that they give you, and it's like, well, how am I supposed to know that they just wanted the date?
Yeah, my QR code reader was not working correctly, so I looked that up. And then the one that was in the Sphinx, like, you're not gonna find that unless you already know it's there. So like, fuck you, game. Right. Yes. But usually, if I could find where the star was, I could probably suss out what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, that was my thing about it. Welcome back. If you didn't want to get spoiled on Talos Principle, hello again.
Oh, hi.
So I loved this game, and I struggled against some of even just the normal puzzles for a long time, but the feeling of actually figuring them out and getting them was so good. And then I started the DLC Road to Gehenna, but I decided to hold off on it because it's kind of like advanced puzzles, and I went straight into the sequel, Talos Principle 2, which I didn't start until the new year, but I've been enjoying that a lot, and it actually fixes a lot of my problems that I had with the first game. I really loved this game. It's an all-timer in Bradford's book.
So the recommendation from the two of you means I'll probably go check this out pretty soon then.
I think you should.
Definitely.
If you like Portal, I think you'll have a good time.
And like your description of like you playing this game and trying to like force yourself through the puzzles reminds me of my experience playing any Uncharted game. Where I'm a big the shooting, fine, whatever. Platforming, great. I love it. I love platformers. But then like you'll come to this one room and it's like, oh, you have to stop the game dead in its tracks for 30 minutes to an hour to however long it takes you to solve a puzzle that is just completely unintuitive.
Did the puzzles in Uncharted really take an hour to solve?
There were no. I'm being facetious. There were one or
okay.
two that were like. There were one or two in the series that were pretty bad, but like mostly it's just like, am I just not looking at this the right way? And of course, the answer is yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure if the rest of the game is like a rollicking blockbuster movie with shooting bad guys and jumping off cliffs, when you have to put together an idol or whatever, it probably feels like it takes 30 minutes.
Oh, did you not want to turn 3 dials to make sure that the sun could come into the room at the right angle? Sorry, that's what you're doing for the next hour and a half, bud.
I will say the puzzles in Talos are a lot more immediate and intuitive than that. Like I
figured.
The extra credit ones that John and I are talking about are completely optional to the game. They're only to get the true ending.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get the good ending without having to do any of that.
I see. Okay.
It's a lot of like laser chess. You have to like shoot lasers from one point to another, figure out how to get your lasers from point A to point B. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
that's
enough about that. Number 2,
okay.
The Talos Principle.
Talos Principle.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, my number 2, I believe this may be something that one of y'all is going to talk about here shortly, so I'll keep my comments on this short. My number 2 is Super Mario Wonder. I've already talked about the original Mario games and how, playing Super Mario Wonder made me realize, like, I want to go back to the originals and play these again. And then when I did, and then I came back to Mario Wonder, it just kind of warmed my heart that, like, even in the year 2023, like, a new Mario game can still surprise me. As much as I've internalized, like, the mechanics of a Mario game, they can still throw, a monkey wrench into the formula, and I can still enjoy it just as much as I always have. And I don't know what I can say about Mario Wonder that is going to be insightful, just because it's a Mario game. Like, it's exactly what you've always expected out of a 2D side-scrolling Mario game. But then they throw in these, what they're called Wonder Flowers, and the game kind of tilts itself 90 degrees and becomes a completely different game for 2 minutes. And it's always entertaining. And I love it.
Mario Wonder is a joy. Now, it ended up on my honorable mention list.
Oh, okay.
It would have been, if I had done a top 10, it definitely would have been in a top 10. It probably would have been number 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things about Mario Wonder that surprised me so much, aside from the aforementioned Wonder Flowers and all that, is the online.
The online is so much fun.
It's so wholesome.
Yes.
So one of the big ones, John, I don't know, or for the listeners or for anybody else not familiar, is they have these little short stages, and some of them are like these mystery stages where you have to like hunt around and find secrets, right?
Yes.
And the way that they do it is they always drop you in with like 3 other ghosts of other players. And you're all hunting around together to find these secrets and like seeing what everybody else is doing, but you have like 4 emotes to work with. It's very Nintendo. But everybody was like helping each other out and actually like staying in the stage until everybody got all of the secrets. It was something to behold. It was very altruistic, very wholesome, very Mario. I don't know. I really loved it. And then the other big thing is...
It's what multiplayer gaming should be.
Yes. It doesn't get in the way either. You can turn it off if you want.
Right.
But it's very difficult to be mean with it, I would say. The other thing is you can revive off of somebody else's ghost if you die in a level.
Mm-hmm.
And the last level, the ultimate true ending level of Mario Wonder is very difficult. And I sat down one night to try and complete it. I know I'm hijacking your best of list. I'm sorry, Joe.
You're fine.
I sat down to complete it one night, and there was this player named Joy Smile, who basically, as near as I could tell, was sitting there just guiding people like a friggin' Mario Sherpa was guiding people through the final stage and like reviving them where they needed reviving and like showing them how to do moves. And I like sat there with this total stranger for like 20 minutes as he patiently worked with me until I got to the goal at the end of the last level. It was beautiful. It was really great. Thank you, Joy Smile, if you're out there. I know you're a Japanese player, so you're definitely not listening to this unless Super World is in effect, but thank you.
Right. That's wonderful too. Like it's like the most basic level of like people helping people play video games.
It's beautiful.
But also like when you're tag teaming these levels with the randos from around the world, like you get to the what's the
goalpost?
No. When you get to like the special world, is that what it's called? I forget.
Yeah.
We get to the special world, and those levels are especially difficult. But like I was in this one level where I was playing alongside this person. Their name was Leo, and we were just jumping back and forth this level for 30 minutes. And he was helping me out. I was helping him out. We were putting up the standees to help each other, revive and whatnot. But you're just standing there watching your partner Leo try to make this one jump, and you're just standing there going, "Come on, Leo, you can do it. Come on, Leo. Come on. Okay, I got to save Leo. Come on, Leo." It's such a weird, wholesome experience.
Yeah, there was one wall jumping level where there was this player that was Yoshi, and it was like really struggling with it. And I was trying to show him the ropes, and I stuck with it. I stuck with it for like a good 15 minutes. This is how you wall jump. Come on, you can do it. You can do this. You can wall jump. You can get this. Eventually, I dipped.
Oh.
But I gave it my best. I was there for a good 15 minutes. Showing them, like, I actually finished the level. I went back down to the very beginning to check on them to see how they were doing.
Oh.
And they were still struggling with the opening jumps, and I was like, ugh.
You're probably dealing with a little kid.
Yeah, I was like, I've planted the seed. You can do this.
I've given you the tools. It's up to you to use them.
Yeah, because they made a couple wall jumps after I showed them how, but they were still struggling with it. They'll get it eventually.
Oh, that's adorable.
They're probably 5 years old. It's fine.
Probably so, yeah. All right, well, we've done our 5 to 2s. Now, do we want to go back around and do honorable mentions next?
I think we should do honorable mentions. I think we should also do listener submissions.
Okay. Jonathan, do you have an honorable mention from 2023?
What do you mean honorable mention?
Like,
define this.
It's
please.
not an official not an official like top 5 kind of game, but one that you just want to talk about anyways.
Something that you liked but didn't care to put on your list.
I mean, I don't really, like I said, I didn't really make an ordered list or anything. These are just some games that I played this year that I liked enough to want to talk about.
Yeah.
As for other games I've played this year, I played quite a bit of Deep Rock Galactic earlier in the year. That is fun. It's very when you get the type of brainworm where it's just like, look at all this shit I have unlocked and I'm about to unlock. I do like that kind of brainworm personally. It's a game that feels more fun with friends though, and I didn't know enough people playing it at the time. Because I mean, you can definitely get into a game with randos, but it's just like, man, this would be more fun if I had people. It's kind of like Lethal Company. It's like, it's more fun when you have people you know to yell at.
Right.
Yeah.
Being mean to your friends is more fun than being mean to a stranger.
Yes. Play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody else, though, unless you started playing it in the middle of a pandemic and have just been like going off of inertia off of that.
Well, that throws out my theory for your number one for this year, but go on.
I mean, mine aren't in order.
Oh, okay.
And I've been playing a lot of Phoenix Wright lately, the original trilogy, and the Apollo Justice trilogy is about to come out pretty quick, I think.
Yes.
Which I'm very looking forward to that because I love those stupid games.
Have you played the Apollo Justice ones?
I have played the first case of Apollo Justice, but that's all I've played of any of the 4, 5, or 6.
Did you play Great Ace Attorney?
I have, but I've not played it yet. Because back in like July, I bought the trilogy and Ace Attorney bundle on Switch.
Oh, okay. Oh, Great Ace Attorney is so good. It's my favorite. But anyways.
Yeah, I love those. It's a very stupid game. Like it's one of those. It is one of those games where you have to not question the premise. It's just that this game takes place in a world where the law is stupider than normal. Okay, I'll roll with that.
You have to shut your brain off more than usual, but it's very good.
Yeah.
The payoff is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
All I can think of that I've been really getting into a lot. Like I said, I've been playing mostly Final Fantasy XIV just on pure hours, but unless you're wanting an MMO, and unless you're wanting specifically a Final Fantasy game that happens to also be an MMO, it's, like I said, it's hard to recommend that. It's Final Fantasy XIV, parentheses, online, is the way I'll put it.
Yeah.
You have to really be in the market for a Final Fantasy XIV game that also happens to be multiplayer, basically.
Gotcha.
There's a free fucking trial. You can try it if you want. But you don't need to listen to me. Go play the damn thing yourself.
Yeah, I'd like to quote one of the people from our Discord. It turns out it's actually Karen, who said the following just this evening. Did you know that the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV has a free trial and includes the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heaven's Sword and Stormblood expansions up to the level 70 with no restrictions on playtime?
True story.
You absolutely love to hear it.
I love that for everybody.
It's very good.
Oh boy, Brad, you got some honorable mentions. I know you do.
I got some honorable mentions. So I already mentioned Mario Wonder. Probably would have been my number 6 if we were going bigger.
Yeah.
Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower is amazing.
I got to play a little Pizza Tower. I get it. Like I didn't get to play a lot of it, but I get it.
It's very good. It should have won Mr. Jeffrey's Game Awards Independent Game of the Year, but it didn't. It got robbed. It's great. Just go play Pizza Tower. If you like any platformer, you're gonna love Pizza Tower. It's a good time. If you grew up if you're a '90s kid. 90s kids, let me make some noise.
I watched Commander Sterling's video on the Game Awards, like as a retrospective about basically how to predict who's going to win the Game Awards, and Pizza Tower was the one they said should have won if the award was actually like a serious thing.
It's very good. The art's so good, the music's so good. It just the play is so tight. It's a good game. It's a really good game. I did not finish it yet. I got sidetracked by other things, but I can recognize that it's a really good game, and I want to get around to finishing it here shortly. But I since I didn't finish it, I felt wrong about putting it on my list. Another honorable mention would be Pikmin 4. I mentioned it on the pod before. Big Pikmin fan. It's a good time. It's probably it's a good Pikmin game. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm glad it exists. And then we have 2 more. Thanks for indulging me. Fire Emblem Engage came out early in the year. It is so dumb. It's so dumb, and it's what Fire Emblem should be. It is a Saturday morning cartoon where number go up, and everybody looks completely ridiculous. It's very good. It's what Fire Emblem should be. Nobody plays these games for the plots anyways. Get out of here if you're playing these for the plots. The main character has toothpaste hair. Come on. It's a good time. And then the last one is Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, boy.
Which devoured a couple days of my time early in the year as well. And I'm of 2, maybe even 3 minds about Power Wash Simulator. It's a great game for podcasts and for killing time, but it's maybe too good at it. And I've given it the same arm's length approach that I have Vampire Survivors, where like I'll sit down to play it, and then 2 hours I'll look up and it's been 2 hours, and I'm like, oh, that didn't feel good that I just did that. Especially because it's simulating something that I could be doing in real life to be productive.
See, I showed that game to Nikki when it came out, and she threatened me with violence if I played it before I actually power washed the house.
To my own credit, I did power wash the house after playing Power Wash Simulator. But I haven't played it in a while because of that weird ickiness.
Here's the difference.
Yeah.
When you go fucking bug nuts in Power Wash Simulator, there are less consequences than when you go fucking bug nuts in real life with the Power Washer.
Let me tell you a little mini story. A couple years ago, the first time I ever power washed, I was power washing, and I did indeed go bug nuts, and I actually took the paint off of the door frame of our porch, and I had to like sit down and repaint the door frame as my punishment for going bug nuts. So yes, that's true.
Bradford. Oh my god.
This is the important thing about simulator games that I think some people like don't get, is that the bar to entry is getting the game. You don't have to you don't have to actually get a job or go out and like buy the thing. You can just get the game. You know, the game is probably cheaper than buying a power washer. If you get a job where you use a power washer, they usually want you to know how to do so beforehand before they give you the job.
Yeah, but you know, the difference though is like you can just go to a Home Depot and they will rent a power washer to you for roughly the price of the game.
But here's the difference though. When you start spraying anything and everything in the game, you might get a sarcastic word of achievement. When you do it in real life, you get arrested.
Yeah, there's also the game makes a little ding noise when you finish a part, and that just lights up pleasure centers in the brain like absolutely nothing else. So there's that going on for it too.
Oh boy.
I will say the other side effect of having played Power Wash Simulator is I'll go to playgrounds with my daughter, and there's some filthy ass playgrounds. I really want to power wash these playgrounds. I would do it on a volunteer basis. If they'd let me show up with a power washer, I would absolutely do that shit.
You know how they say when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail?
Yes.
When you're a power washer, everything looks dirty.
Exactly. So those are my honorable mentions. Thank you very much. Good night.
Oh boy. Oh man. That's fun. Okay, I've got a handful of honorable mentions too. Again, my consumption of video games has been extreme like normcore, and I'm sorry for that. But you know, we just got the last DLC we're ever going to get for Mario Kart 8, and you know I had to burn through that shit. Mario Kart 8 is it's a fine game. Like, it's not my favorite Mario Kart, but it's fine. It does what it says on the tin.
What's your favorite Mario Kart?
Oh, 64.
That's my guy.
Always and forever will be 64.
Hell yeah.
But I do love Mario Kart's commitment to like maintaining the history of its own tracks, because like I love that the DLC keeps bringing up like, you know, here's 3 tracks from Double Dash, here's 3 tracks from the Mario Kart Wii, here's one more brand new one that we just invented. Like it's a great mix of tracks, and I love that Mario Kart now has like what 120 some tracks you can pick from.
It's disgusting.
It's truly insane. It's the Smash Ultimate of the Mario Kart franchise, and I love it.
How do you feel about the tour tracks?
They're okay.
Okay, that's a reasonable response, and I feel the same way.
I have a very neutral reaction to the tour tracks. Like, okay, I'll play them, whatever.
I'll play them. I wish something else from an earlier game was in, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. I'm a 36-year-old man. I can't get too upset about what Mario Kart tracks they've chosen to put in the game.
But at the same time, I do appreciate that we have like 4 rainbow roads.
You can make a whole cup of nothing but rainbow roads
if you really wanted to. Yeah. I also played, because it was free on the PlayStation Plus, Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Okay.
Which is one of those theme park simulator type games where like I really don't care about Jurassic World as an IP or as a property, but the sandbox mode where you can build your own Jurassic Park with all the free money and no restrictions is pretty fun. And I have to say, it just true to form, like any other Jurassic Park, something literally always goes wrong. And it's for some reason in this game, I've tried it 3 times in a row. It was always the pterodactyls will break out of the cage and attack people.
Have you considered not having pterodactyls?
I did, and people didn't like the park.
Okay.
Like, it was like an essential part of the game that I had to include.
Not enough imminent death, I guess.
No. And also, I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to build, I guess, the maintenance buildings in such a way that the guests wouldn't just instinctively flock to them.
Okay.
You can build a maintenance shed on a road all across the entire map of the park that they give you. People will still walk all the way down it just to see what it is. And then they will complain to you when there's nothing on this side of the park. Well, I tried to build a fence, but you walked underneath it. It's that kind of a game.
Gotcha.
Also, there's Spelunky 2, which I've been playing for the last 3 or 4 years, and I absolutely love it to death.
Good game.
Good game. I will never complete this game, and that's why I will continue to play this game.
It's your white whale.
It is my white whale. And like every time I'm playing it and Nikki walks in the room, she just like rolls her eyes like, this again? She calls it Weird Dig Dug, which I kind of appreciate.
It's Weird Dig Dug.
Yeah. Also, my brother Dan got me into playing the original Doom and Doom 2 again this year.
Nice.
The first one is like still a Stone Cold classic. You can play it anytime. But man, I gotta tell you, Doom 2 feels like they intentionally designed it to be as obtuse and irritating as possible. And I did not finish it and did not enjoy it. I'm sorry, Doom 2 fans. That's how I feel.
Did you dig into WADs at all?
Not really, no. It's just because it was that's what was on the PlayStation Network.
If you want a fun little head trip, there was a really great WAD that came out, I think it was last year. myhouse.wad.
Okay.
Look it up. You're going to have a good time.
All right.
I don't know if it's on like the console versions. Just look up a video about it, honestly.
Yeah,
there's
just,
a couple
just
really good
look up the like 2.5 hour long video explaining it.
Yes. Yeah, I think you and I probably watched the same one, John.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It's really cool what they did with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look that
up. And I will leave it at that.
And I'm going to end my honorable mentions just by mentioning the fact that 2023 was the year that I finally decided to look into Fortnite. And I'm sorry that I did, because like I'm still playing it. I played it today because clowning on kids is fun. End of story.
Who among us?
You know?
I don't blame you at all.
And like, because everybody's got to have a dumb gimmick, my gimmick is like, yeah, I bought the RoboCop skin and I put a superhero cape on him. I'm Captain RoboCop. That's what I do. Anyway, I'm done.
I will join you the day that they release a Hatsune Miku skin. I will play Fortnite with you.
Is there not one already?
I looked it up. There is not one already.
How's there not one already?
You're just as surprised as I am, because I could have sworn they did. They got everything else on the planet, but they don't have a Hatsune Miku skin yet. But then when they do, that'll be the day.
I'll say, like, the most recent thing that they just released was like a Peter Griffin skin, and like it's like they engineered it to be as irritating as possible.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, I'm done talking about Fortnite. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the generic John Wick skin, not the actual John Wick, but the legally distinct one that came before that. That's about my claim to fame.
You know,
awesome.
that's the one that I seem to get killed by the most, and I understand it, but still, it's
the skin for getting through all of the battle passes in Season 3. I don't know if they've put it in the money shop since then, but that's where I got it, because that was the last time I played Fortnite was 2018, 2019, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I got into it like at the very beginning of 23, and I only just came back around to it in the last couple of weeks, just because like I felt like shooting stuff.
Yes.
Anyway, so we all have one last game to talk about, but before we do, we put it out to our listeners for a little bit of feedback. What did our listeners play this year? And we got a couple of responses, but not too many. That's okay. It's still January, and who wants to think about anything right now?
Who wants to do literally anything?
Exactly. But our friend Mike from Advent Calendar House just said, just pretend I submitted that old commercial of John Cassier in a dark room screaming Zelda. I'll put a clip of that in here because that's fun.
Zelda, Zelda, Zelda! The Legend of Zelda. A never-ending adventure new for your Nintendo Entertainment System. Zelda!
And then our buddy Jerry from Totally Rad Christmas, all he did was he posted a GIF of Mega Man with the Leaf Shield. So I'm assuming he played a bunch of Mega Man 2 this year.
There you go.
Also a good choice. And then over in our Discord server, our friend Meat sent us the following. He says, I finished 18 games in 2023. I think the best of them was the last 10 minutes of both Outer Wilds and Pizza Tower. But as a whole, Dragon Quest Builders 2 was super charming and fun. How many games let you go on a road trip through hell with monster buddies? It's basically Dragon Quest Builders 2 and maybe Grim Fandango. And he's not wrong. And then finally, there's a friend of the show, Niall. He's been
anime. Niall Anime.
Niall Anime.
Friend of the show, Niall Anime. Last name withheld. No, we actually asked if anybody would like to send in some clips, and our friend Niall did us a solid, and he sent in a clip of his favorite game of 2023. So let's roll that clip.
Folks, how are you? It's Niall here, and I heard you wanted to know about some of the games we found exciting in 2023, and top of the heap for me has got to be Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, a From Software game, makers of all those Dark Souls games and what have you, so it'll follow suit. Yes, but also no. It's reviving the old robot combat franchise, and it takes what they're infamous for now, such as the kind of tense, difficult boss encounters and a bleak setting with multiple endings. But this one gives you great license to adapt and experiment with your build, with your approach, with so many cool robot parts and weapons. It actually encourages you. You can trade things in and get your money back and swap it around at any stage. So you're not smashing your head repeatedly, and it's all difficult sense you can get back to having fun with blowing shit up with cool robots. Unless you're one of those get good streamers who couldn't defeat the early on bosses because they're stubborn and refuse to change it up, of which there are more than a few. But less said about that. I'm on my third playthrough of it right now, and it's still throwing surprises at me, not to mention more entertaining methods to blow up robots. It's quite a time. Talk to you soon, lads. Merry Christmas. Have a great one.
Yeah, very good points. I have not played it. I've heard very good things. If you're into real robot action, I'm sure it's a trip. If you're into FromSoft stuff, I'm also sure it's a trip. I don't know if it's for me, having only played a little bit of FromSoft's output, and not a big robot guy, but it looked really cool. Mm-hmm. And I bet the sound design is great. Looks like a good time.
Yeah, it seems like something that I would get lost in forever if I decided to somehow magically have enough money to get a PS5 without worrying about other expenses first.
Right.
But I also got some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to play because they're not going to put that fucking thing out on PC for another year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's probably what they're going to do with the remake because it was on PS4 first, and then a year later the PC version came out, so they're probably doing that shit again. So, gotcha. I mean, PS5 counts. Send us a PS5.
We would love you and appreciate it forever. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thanks.
A Dark Souls robots game seems to be something that's targeted toward me in a way that seems offensive. So I'll probably like that if I get it.
Targeted advertising at its finest. Oh, boy. All right, gents. Well, we got 3 more games to talk about. Jonathan, would you like to bring us home?
Yeah, last thing I'll talk about, I guess, is like a 15 or 20 way tie.
Oh, great.
For every game in the Resident Evil franchise.
Oh.
Okie
We're doing
dokie.
this, are we?
What's that?
I said we're doing this, are we?
Yeah, did you not hear me talk about fucking around in a Puzzle Mansion earlier?
Oh, no, yeah, we did.
I suppose you did.
Yeah,
but I didn't
that,
make
but
that connection.
They give me guns.
But only so many.
Yeah, I played the Resident Evil remake, like the original GameCube one, the PC version of it earlier, Resident Evil 0, the 2 remake, the 3 remake. I really want to get the 4 remake, I just can't board buying it right now because it's a fucking remake of Resident Evil 4, which I already have.
Fair enough, yeah.
But it's a series that I keep going back to because it's just so wonderfully stupid. It's absolute schlock-ass B-movie plot with wonderfully terrible acting, stupid puzzles. You get guns to blow up ugly monsters. What's not to love?
Did you play 7 and Village as well?
I started playing 7 a little bit ago. I've not gotten into Village yet. 7 is throwing me for a little bit of loop, though, because I'm not used to the first-person-ness of it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I play other first-person shooters just fine, but you know what I mean? Like, when I play a couple Resident Evils, and then I start up another one that's like, alright, this is a completely different play style of game. Now I have to get used to this again.
Right.
I think that's why I took to 7 so quickly, because it was more my speed of game. Because like I've always kind of held Resident Evil at arm's length because it's been just a style of gameplay that I'm not used to. So when they pivoted to something that I was used to, I was like all about 7 when it came out. Have not played 8 yet, though, or Village, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah, Village, 8, it's all the same.
But yeah, that's the last thing that I've played in the past year or so that I'd recommend is just Resident Evil in general. Just pick one. They're all equally silly
Dumb.
and stupid, dumb, yeah.
and
most
fun.
most of them are good, I'll say.
What would you say is your least favorite, and what would you say is your most favorite?
Out of the ones I've played recently, 0 is probably my least favorite because of the changes they made in terms of the way the game plays make it a little more frustrating, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have the item box to store crap in. Items are physically on the ground where you left them. So you need to go back and get them, and sometimes you spend some time ferrying items around, basically.
Right.
And probably 2 Remake might be one of my favorite out of I played recently, just because 2 Remake understood the assignment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's the epitome of Resident Evil, so to speak.
Yes.
Gotcha.
My least favorite is 2, and my most favorite is 3, but that's only because I'm talking about the movies. Sorry,
oh,
I just had to put that out there.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts on Resident Evil before we jump ahead?
No, I'm good for right now.
Okay,
I think we've I think we've had enough of me.
We've murdered Resident Evil. Okay, Bradford, how about you, sir? I'm excited to hear this. I don't know what this is going to be.
So this is a deeply personal pick, and I know it's not going to be anybody else's pick ever. My pick for my favorite game of the year is Arcade Archives Tetris, the Grandmaster 2+.
Okie dokie. Explain.
So I have a bit of a history with this game. So if you're unfamiliar with the Grandmaster series, sub-series of Tetris, it's an arcade-only version of Tetris, and it is very difficult. It gets going very fast, to the point where once you reach what is called 20G, a block will take 1 frame to reach the bottom of the screen from the top of the screen.
Whoa.
And it is built around this, right?
Okay, yeah.
So they give you a certain number of tools to mitigate this sort of factor, like the pieces don't lock into place immediately, and you can hold a button. You can hold one of the directional buttons, or like the rotation buttons, to rotate the piece before it even comes out.
Okay, that's cool. But
it's just like a highly technical, really niche sort of version of Tetris. But I have a bit of history with this game. It is the first arcade game that I ever owned. Because I bought the PCB from Japan years ago. Almost 10 years ago at this point. More than 10 years ago at this point. I wired off money, sight unseen, to a corporation in Japan which sells arcade boards. And a couple weeks later, I was the proud owner of a Tetris the Grandmaster 2+ board. And I took it to my local arcade, and they were kind enough to let me install it on one of the machines with the stipulation that the owner would keep the proceeds from that board, and I would get to play it for free whenever I wanted.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so I have these really fond memories of playing this game. I never got particularly good at it. So it uses a Q-Dan ranking system, just like you see in like Japanese martial arts and Go and things like that, where you have like 9-1 of the lower rank, the Q rank, and then in Grandmaster it's called like S1 to S9, and then Grandmaster rank. I never got above S1 ever in the arcades. I was really bad at it. But earlier this year, they've been teasing releasing this series on and off again for like 5 years now. It's like a will they, won't they. Like Arika, who created the version of this game, will say, oh, we're doing a temperature check in Grandmaster. We're going to re-release Grandmaster, and then it never happens. And then finally this year, right after Tears of the Kingdom came out, no less, like early June, lo and behold, as part of the Arcade Archive series, finally, they released Tetris, the Grandmaster 2+, and I'm just so happy to have this game back in my life. I'm still bad at it. I'm still terrible at it. Like, I'll never be good at it, but it's kind of like with you and Spelunky 2, Joe. It's my white whale. It's a game that I can always keep striving at, and enjoy my time with. And it's on the Switch, it's on the PS4. I'm just so glad that I have this game that I used to go to great lengths to play is finally available, on this mobile platform. It's amazing to me. I love it dearly. I'm so glad it came out. It's my game of the year for sure.
Excellent. And again, it's just like with Mario. Like, Tetris has been around forever, but like the fact that you can keep playing it this way is just chef's kiss. Love it.
Yes,
love it.
Thank you.
Did you see the thing where like a kid finally beat the NES or the NES
Blue
Tetris?
Scooty.
Got to the what?
Blue Scooty. Blue Scooty. He finished NES Tetris. He crashed the game, which is a first. And then I believe somebody a couple weeks later did the same thing. But Blue Scooty was the first. Amazing achievement. Go check it out on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. Good for him. So I guess now we have to talk about The Legend of Zelda, because that's my number one of the year. It's Legend of Zelda. But guess what? It's not just Tears of the Kingdom. It's also Breath of the Wild. Because here's what happened. When Breath of the Wild first came out, 7-8 years ago now? I forget. Time is a flat circle. I played it for about an hour and a half, and it just bounced straight off me and said, I'm not into this right now. Fast forward 2023, Tears of the Kingdom comes out, and I say, well, if I'm going to play Tears of the Kingdom, I might as well give Breath of the Wild a fair shot. And so I did, and then all of a sudden, 4 months later, I finally beat the game. And what did I do? I bought the DLC, started the game over immediately, and then started playing it over again. Because I loved it just that much. I had gotten sucked into that world so quickly. And then at a certain point in playing the DLC, I realized, wait, I need to just go ahead and move on, or else I'm never going to play Tears of the Kingdom.
And how did you jump right into Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes. And
how did that treat you?
I gotta say, it was pretty seamless, and I was shocked at how seamless it was. Like, you might think that it's, Breath of the Wild is an almost decade-old game at this point, but it's like no time had passed at all, and but not necessarily in a bad way where like Tears of the Kingdom seemed antiquated or old. It's just like they picked up right where they left off and they just kept on trucking. But then the game starts to reveal itself to you in subtle ways, and you realize like, oh, there's more to this than you kind of figure. Like, there's a sky world. And there's an underworld as well. There's 3 different layers to jump between, and it's just massive.
Let me say, I didn't follow the game super closely intentionally. Tears of the Kingdom, I should say.
Right.
I didn't even know the Underworld was a thing going into it, and it blew my mind when I realized there's a whole friggin' second-ass map underneath the first map.
Yes. And I think we've talked about this on the show. We may have talked about this on the show before, but like the trick that you figure out about this, the cavern map, when you figure that trick out, the entire game like unlocks itself for you, basically.
And it brings me back to what I was gonna say earlier, which is it fixes one of my major complaints with Breath of the Wild, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert for Tears of the Kingdom. If you want to go in fresh, this is a game mechanic thing. It's not a story spoiler. Fast forward maybe 30 seconds. It fixes the big problem with Breath of the Wild is if you wanted to get all the shrines, you either really had to hunt for them or you had to use a guide. And this solves this so seamlessly with having the light routes be co-located with the actual shrine locations on the surface. Oh, it's genius. I love it.
And also to have the light routes on the map be fairly easy to like deduce where they are. So
you can see them. Like it's such a good mechanic that it's like it's a dim light glowing in the distance, even if it's like a mile away.
Right, and then you open up the map and it's like, well, there's a blank spot on the map. That must be where it is.
Yes, you can suss out exactly where they are.
And so I did spend a good like couple of weeks just doing that.
Yeah, and then having the topography of the underground be the opposite of the overworld.
Yes,
chef's kiss.
Because there are sections where like there's a giant wall that you cannot climb over, and for the life of me, I could not figure out what it was or why I couldn't climb over it. And then when it occurred to me that the giant walls are where all of the water is on the main map, it blew my fucking mind.
I had the same revelation, my friend.
And as soon as you figure that out, like, you know, you're off to the races and figuring out like where the rest of this stuff is. And that's not even talking about like the story of the game or any of the modes or any of the characters that you meet. It's just like that underworld is so unique and interesting. Like I kind of feel bad that I've already just burned through it because like I would kind of love to experience that again.
The way that it basically it gives you this tool to figure out the overworld, but you have to earn it.
Yes.
Seamlessly underneath. It's inspired.
But
I think it's weird. Like, you know, Ultra Hand is great and like the physics engine is amazing and the fact that they got this game running is amazing. I don't know why, but that little masterstroke of like the underground, that sticks with me more than anything else they did with this game.
It made the exploration like a core component of the game again.
Yes. Like
it rewards you for exploring, and it teases you with like there's something else around the corner, you just gotta go find it.
And I think part of that was out of necessity because of Ultra Hand and the Zonai devices more or less breaking the overworld of the game. It's so easy to get around on the overworld.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That it's out of necessity that this, you know, a lot of the shrines are like hidden down in caves now. Caves are great too. I love that addition.
The caves are fun, yeah. Like now we're hunting for the rest of the bubble gems in this game, and it's just like, well, where are the caves? You have no idea. You just have to find them.
Do you know the trick?
Well, there's like the little bunny rabbit that leads you to them, right?
Well, do you know the other trick for finding caves?
No.
Have you found a cherry tree at the overworld?
Oh yeah, that's what that is. Okay.
Yes.
I did it once and I couldn't figure out what it was supposed to be, but I get it now.
Okay. I'll leave it at that.
So yeah, but then also just the depth of the game itself, because like you've got your four main, I guess, sage bosses, the four temples that you complete, and then I started to just fuck around on the map because I thought, well, that's obviously where the game ends. And then I kind of fell backwards into a mission about a fifth sage where I realized, oh, there's way more to this game than I kind of thought there was.
Yeah.
And so now I'm intentionally holding off doing any more of the story stuff, because guess what? Now Nikki has gotten lost in this game. She's in the other room playing it right now. She loves hunting deer and cooking dishes. That's like her thing.
Oh, right. You told me about this.
And she's getting good at it, and now she's branching out into, like, she's trying to fight the Lionels and fighting the Gleogs. She's learning. She's getting there. But, you know, she, like, to watch her, like, progress and actually, like, become good at this game has been kind of rewarding, because, like, now I can just watch her play it and enjoy it too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching video games, let's go do that. GDQ's on.
Oh yeah, there's a Gyromite run on Wednesday where apparently a dog is going to help somebody play Gyromite.
Oh my god!
The dog might play it himself. I've seen that dog play Punch Out.
Wait, that was not a bit. You've seen this dog play Punch Out?
Yeah, he has like a, you know, the I think it's a greyhound, the dog Bunny, who has like the board of different buttons that make noises, and it knows what each button does, so the dog can basically talk in simple sentences.
Right. Yes.
The dog has a controller that's like similar to that, where it's just like 4 big buttons he can press.
I have to see this.
Yeah, I love that. I gotta check that out. Oh man.
Because it was Gyromite. I thought the dog was just going to be like pressing the levers on Rob, which I assume is what's going to happen. But still, I'm very excited to see this dog run at GDQ.
Well, folks, we have run for almost 2 hours talking about just video games. I know a lot of you have been asking us, like, just go ahead and do it. You clearly want to talk about video games so bad. So this is it.
No one made any talking dog saving Christmas and or having a singing competition movie last year. So, I mean, what was there to talk to otherwise?
We've got a hole to fill.
That's true. And that hole
got a dog-shaped hole in our hearts to fill.
That's right. We'll see you at GDQ, everybody. Until then, this is going to have to do it for Christmas Creeps. We're so excited for Season 10. I don't know what's going to happen yet, because we never, ever call our shots ahead of time unless we absolutely know for a fact it's going to happen. So stay tuned, because there's no telling what's going to happen here on, I'm going to say it again, the 10th season of Christmas Creeps. What is wrong with us, everybody?
What is time?
Oh, but if you want to do anything online, go do it, because, you know, I'm not your dad. No, if you want to send us anything you want, from questions, comments, suggestions for things you want us to talk about in the future, you can send those to us at xmascreeps@gmail.com. We're on all the socials at Christmas Creeps, Twitter, Facebook, Blue Sky, all that fun stuff. Our link to our Discord channel is in the show notes, and I highly recommend you come and join us and join the conversation, because we have a good old time. Jonathan and Bradford, anything I'm missing?
Thank you so much for listening. If you listen to all of this, you absolute maniac, thanks.
And I mean, if you're in the market for other things like this, there's like a 14-hour, and it's just part 1 of it, video of Elden Ring lore on YouTube that I'm watching right now, or listening to at work, so that's pretty good too.
Good lord. I thought the 4-hour history of EVE Online that I watched was long.
Let's hear it for YouTubers, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for YouTubers.
Let's hear it for online content.
TM.
God bless content. And you know what? We're glad to have made some of it too.
Well,
so, you know.
That's arguable, but yes.
I'm glad I got to have a conversation with you friends about video games, because God bless video games, and God bless every one of you. Because
me too. I hope we can make this a new tradition.
Next year, we'll come back around and talk about the games that we played in 2024. How about that?
Yes.
So get to playing video games, and we'll see you then. So, folks, I've been Joseph Wade for Christmas Creeps.
I'm Bradford.
I was here too. I'm Johnny 5, the Human Robot.
Have a good night. Have a happy new year, and we will see you down the road.
Night.
Night, everybody.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.